honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashema Mashiach, Malak Yahushua. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty brothers that go out there and labor on the highways and byways, making their body living sacrifice. In the rain, the tumults, the demons, the uprises, the uproars, they're out there standing 10 toes down for the name of the Lord. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty brothers that are not out there as of yet, but they're building themselves up, reading, praying, fasting, taking notes, right, being diligent, doing everything they could do to put themselves in a position to shake the hand and wake up the hopeful elect. Another strong shalom to all that are mighty akwaf in this thing, that actually sincerely reverence their husbands, right? Being teachers of good things to the children at home, being quiet, shamefaced, submissive, loving, steadfast, cooking, sewing, cleaning, doing all of the righteous acts of our foremothers on fire for the Lord. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty akwaf that are not married as of yet, but they're building themselves up, reading, praying, fasting, right, taking notes, being steadfast, being shamefaced, doing everything they could do to magnify the Most High in the ministry. Another strong shalom to all that are mighty children in this thing, abstaining from all lust, concupiscence, and peer pressure, on fire for the Lord. And last but not least, another strong shalom to the 12 tribes scattered abroad, reading, praying, fasting, making their body a living sacrifice, not making excuses, magnifying the Most High and his beloved son Yahushua. Right, this is going to be a cold cut, a video on the mindset of a king, right? Because we often forget in captivity that you are of a royal descendant. You're not just a nigga walking down the street, right? You're a descendant from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that ancient mentality that our fathers had, right? We have to move in that same spirit, right? We can't forget who we are, where we come from, the power we possess. But let me get this real fast. Let's go to the mighty book, right, of Wisdom of Solomon. And also being a king, right? You can't just call yourself a king. You don't say, well, shalom, king, right? And the brother's doing God knows what behind closed doors, right? A brother can't judge a matter, right? The brother has no sense and understanding of the law. How can this brother be a king? You don't just want to throw around that title just because this brother got fringes on and a beard on his face. You have to earn a title to be a king, man. Didn't Jacob have to earn being called Israel? Didn't Abram have to do something to be called Abraham? Didn't these men do things in the eyes of the Most High, which gave them a blessing and gave them a name? We can't forget or be negligent rather and say, well, you know what? I'm a king. I'm royalty. I'm a priest. Well, do you know the Levitical priesthood? Do you know the sacrifices? Do you know what it takes in the eyes of God and how strategic it is and pacific it is, right, to do these sacrifices? Right, let me get this real fast. This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6 and verse 1. Hear, therefore, O ye kings, and understand. Learn that ye may be judges of the ends of the earth. So if you're going to call yourself a king, your mentality and your mindset is to judge the ends of the earth. You got to look past the street that you on. You got to look past, you just judging your household on a matter, or just look past a brother calling you for counsel. If you really call yourself a king and want to be a king, and describe, you understand, and work towards that kingdom-like mentality, the Lord said you have to hear and understand. Ye that be judges of the ends of the earth. Because when the Lord set up man, he's going to set up man over 10 cities, over 5 cities, or over a city. And it's up to you to judge according to the law what the Most High has said. It says, give ear, ye that rule the people, and glory in the multitude of nations. For power is given you of the Lord, and sovereignty from the highest, who shall try your works and search out your counsels. So everybody hasting to be a prophet, a king, some type of person that has their own camp. They have to understand how much goes into running a nation, how much goes into running a household, a congregation, how much really goes into it in the eyes of God. Because there's more blood on your hands. Right? That's more condemnation that's going to rest upon you if you're not doing it upright. The Lord said, for power is given you of the Lord, and sovereignty from the highest. Meaning in the law, if you didn't take the understanding from the judges and the counsel from the priests, they would kill you. When you read the book of Deuteronomy, the 17th chapter, if you didn't listen to what those men counseled you, they would actually kill you. The Lord said, he that doeth presumptuously, let me get it real fast in the law. That's how high a king's word is, or an elder's word is in the law, and a priest's word. That if you didn't hearken by the laws that they gave you in a council from the Most High, you understand that they would actually kill you. Let's get that real fast. Let's go to the mighty book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17 and verse number 11. It says, according to the sentence of the law, which they shall teach thee, and according to the judgment, which they shall tell thee, thou shalt do. Thou shalt not decline from the sentence which thou shalt shew thee, to the right hand or to the left. And the man that will do presumptuously, meaning this man doesn't take counsel from the king, the elder, he doesn't take counsel from the priest. It says, and will not hearken unto the priest that standeth to minister, therefore, Salakia, there before the Lord thy God, unto the judge, even that man shall die, and thou shalt put away evil from Israel. So you want to go back to the ancient mentality. How strong was the priest? If you didn't listen to the priest, the Lord said, that's blood on your hands. It will kill you, man. Hey, the king standing in the judgment seat can execute judgment to kill you, man. Didn't David kill that Amalekite? Didn't David kill those men? You understand? And chop their heads off, right? That came with that news when you read the book of 2 Samuel. Well, let me get this real fast. Let me get one other thing. A king can execute counsel at the snap of his fingers, snap of a dime, right? The elders could bring you inward in the law and bring you up before Moses and bring you up before the Lord and kill you. So the power that these men had in the law and judgment was serious, right? It's not a light matter. Right, let me get this real fast. Let me get this real fast in the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 4, and verse number 9. And David answered Rechab Benah, his brother, his son of Ramoth and Berothite, and said unto them, the Lord liveth, who have redeemed my soul out of all adversity. When one told me, saying, behold, Saul is dead, thinking to have brought good tidings, and told hold of him, and slew him in Zildag, who thought I would have given him a reward for this tidings. So these men, they came up, you understand, thinking that they murdered Ishbosheth, that was going to be doing David an honor. It says, how much more wicked men have slain a righteous person in his own house upon his bed. Shall I not therefore now require this, his blood at your hand, and take you away from the earth? And David commanded his young men, and they slew him. So who stopped David? David could kill somebody if he wanted to, man. The power that a king possesses, the power that a priest possesses, a power that an elder possesses, you have to understand how much power they had. It's as if they can execute judgment in the law as if they're the Lord, because they have to execute it by the laws of God. So if you want to call yourself a king and a priest, you can't be emotional. You can't judge after your well-being. You can't judge after what you feel like and what benefits you, what benefits you in the household, what benefits you in the congregation, what benefits you in the longevity and your long run. These men have to answer according to every judgment that they judged. If they didn't judge upright, there will be blood on their hands. Because not only are they going to fall, but the whole nation is going to fall too. Going back to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 6 and verse number 5. Horribly and speedily shall he come upon you, for a sharp judgment be to them that be in high places. So all you brothers that are on the highways and byways teaching, breaking down scriptures wrong, telling people, well, it is what it is. The Lord is going to kill you, right? I'm not going to give you a flyer. The brother's light-skinned, so you call him an Edomite. You're drawing people away from the Lord. You're telling your wife she's going to get put to death because she didn't make unleavened bread. You're ruling your household unjustly. You're not judging her right according to the law. You're using the power that the Most High gave you, right, just to be a tyrant and a wicked man and not do it prudently according to the law. The Lord is going to get up with you. The Lord said, horribly and speedily shall he come upon you, right? It says, for mercy shall soon pardon the meanest. The meanest meaning the strongest, men of authority. Because a lot of people that say a brother, he may be slow, may not have a lot of understanding. Like you read about in Sirach chapter 11 and 12, right all the way down. That man, he may not know how to read the scriptures very well. He may not have the sense of the law, but the Most High gives him mercy. You understand? But the Lord said, for mercy will soon pardon the meanest. Meaning the more higher you are with understanding, authority, wisdom, knowledge, moving as a king, a priest, an elder, the more high of a standard the Lord is going to hold you to, man. Right? You can't have 5 kids and act like you was when you was in middle school. You have more of a responsibility now. And the Lord is going to requite all of that at your hands. Let me get this real fast in the book of Luke. So every day you understand that we gain more wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and not just men, women as well, the Lord's going to hold you to a higher standard because you know more. Right? You're not going to give the judgment till, right, your 2-year-old like you would give to the 15-year-old in the house. This is the book of Luke, chapter 12, and verse, right, number 47. It says, and that servant which knew his Lord's will. And you brothers know the Lord's will. You know that you can't lie. You can't cheat, right, and do unjust dealings. You know that you can't manipulate the word to get women. You know that you can't offend one of the little ones. You know you can't be two-faced and double-minded and somebody totally in the dark than you are on the light. The Lord says, and will prepare not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes. The many stripes is judgment. Meaning the Lord is going to get upon you with many judgments. That could be famine, pestilence. That could be bugging you out. Right? That could be moving in the spirit of Thaddeus. Right? Drawing men away through their simplicity, like Absalom. It's a lot of things that the Lord is going to do to corrupt your mind and sift you out, whether it be physically, mentally, financially. Right? It says, but he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. Lord said much required. You sit up there studying all day to shake the hand, to be some prophet, to make videos, because you see other people doing it. You don't really know. The more you increase, the more the Lord is going to hold you to that standard. You can't increase all of this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding and think that your works could diminish. Think that your prudency and your wisdom, or how you deal with matters, the more counsels you neglect to do, the more videos you neglect, whatever the case may be, that you could debase that way, but just increase in knowledge. Because the Lord is going to want to hold you to more. The more money they pay you on a job, so-called, the more they're going to ask for you. I need you to come in at 8, man. 8 in the morning. I need you to stay a little bit later. You know what? I know it's your day off, but you know your salary. You know, I need more from you. The more they pay you, the more they're going to expect from you. The Lord is giving you talents and wisdom, knowledge and understanding. And he's going to requite that at every man's hand, especially at a man that's at a status of a king. It says, of him shall be much required, and to whom men have committed much, of him will they ask the more. So if you're committed much, the Lord is just going to want more and more and more from you. So if you're increasing, brother, we're still here in the next 8 months, 2 years, 5 years. How much more are you going to have to put on your plate? How much more are you going to have to move in? Right? Going back to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6, and verse 7. I'm going to read 6 again. For mercy shall show pardon the meanest, but mighty men shall be mightily tormented. That's them stripes. Mightily tormented. Look at Aaron. What happened to Aaron? Aaron was mighty. He was the high priest. He had the law from God's mouth through the hand of Moses. He led the flock along with Moses. He had wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. He judged matters. He set up the Levitical priesthood. He set up his son, Eleazar. After him, he done set up all of the men in the tabernacle of witness to pitch it. He had everything moving in the spirit. But what did he do? He went off, and the Lord required that at his hand. Took him upon a mountain and smote him and killed him and stripped the garments off of him and gave him to his son. That's a mighty judgment. Now you may say, well, I mean, how many other people in Israel was going off? Dancing, laughing, drinking, right? Committing fornication, going to hell off, right? Worshiping other gods and Baal when Moses was upon a mountain. But the Lord required who? Aaron. So the more higher you are in this thing, the more the things you may feel like is small, the Lord's going to require that from you. What did Moses do? He smote the rock when he should have spoke to the rock. And him just doing that alone kept him what? From the promised land. So the more you increase, you got to understand, hey, look, that argument you got into, that brother you shunned away, that brother you hung up the phone on, that sister you did God knows what and perverted her mind and sifted her away from her husband or whatever the case may be through counsel, these things are going to be horribly coming to you. It's a very deep and strategic and strong matter, the things that you're doing. Because you may look at it as small, you may look at it as minute, you may look at it as not that serious, but the Most High is not going to look at it that way. It says this. It says, for he, which is the Lord over all, shall fear no man's person. Meaning the Lord don't care who you are. He don't care that you got 15 congregations. He doesn't care that, you know, you sit up here and you get 15,000 views. 20,000 views, and men look at you a certain way. It says, neither shall he stand in awe in any man's greatness, for he have made the small and great and care for all alike. But a sore trial shall come upon the mighty. Unto you, therefore, O kings, do I speak, that ye may learn wisdom and not fall away. Meaning kings fall away. How many men, when you read 1st and 2nd Kings, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, when you go into this thing, did they fall away? A lot of men fell away, man. A lot of old prophets fell away. A lot of men following Paul in the gospel and the disciples, they fell away. You could fall away in this thing. And the Lord is telling you, oh, that you may learn wisdom, that you may not fall away. Let me get this precept in the book of Proverbs. It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 23 and verse 7. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Your heart is your mind. And whatever you think deep down within yourself is the spirit that's going to manifest on you. Really think about it. You hear a song on the radio and it brings back old memories and now you're sad. Because whatever you thought, it brought forth through your actions. You sitting up there, somebody yelling at you, and you let it get to your mentality and your mind and overthrow you, and now you're upset. You're thinking to yourself, who is they talking to? They got me messed up. And now you're thinking this way, and it's on your visage and your countenance. Bro, whatever you think and manifest all the day long is what's going to come to light. And the Lord said, as a man thinketh, so is he. You think yourself to be a nobody, a low life, I'll never make it, depressed, have anxiety, you're sad, you're manipulative to your own self, you're cruel to your own self, you don't do yourself any good, all you do is get on yourself, you're never good enough, right? You don't take any advice, all you do is beat yourself down and put a pillow over your head and just give up, man. That's who you're going to be. You're going to take less chances, you're not going to be as confident, you're not going to be strong, you're not going to have the mentality to be fearless. Look at David, man. David was young as I don't know what, coming out there with grown men in an army and never set foot on a battlefield before. But his mentality, as he thoughteth, he knew he could take down Goliath, man. They said, who the hell is this uncircumcised Philistine to come up against the armies of the living God, man? And that spirit will hop on you, man, of confidence, like a lion. What can't I do? All praise to the Most High. I know that the angels are with me. You start moving in a boulder-like mentality and spirit to where you feel like you could conquer all things. And the Lord said, paraphrasing greatly, if you have faith as a mustard seed and believe and doubt not, thou shalt not only do this thing, you shall move mountains. And you got to believe that. So it says, for as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, saith he, right, to thee, but his heart is not with thee. Right, let me get the book of Sirach. That's another part of being a king. A king knows he's a king. You can't just wake up in the morning as a king. Do I reign today? Where's my throne? Excuse me, and then you ring the little bell. Can I have a sepulcher? No, a king wakes up and he knows that he's a king. He sits on his throne. He commands his servants, right? This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon. Let me get this real fast. Salaki, Sirach, that's what I want. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 10, and verse number 1. A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. It said a government of a prudent man is well ordered. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. So whatever judge, you understand, is ruling or whatever the case may be, the Lord says, so are the judges under him. So if a man is wise, he's moving in the spirit, he's given sound direction, right? He's not frantic, he's wise, he takes his time, right? He's strategic in these matters and he beseeches the Lord in every single enterprise. He gets counsel. That man is going to fare well. But if the judge is lazy, he's slothful, he don't read, he don't pray, he don't fast, that's going to trickle down to your family. It's going to be on your wife. That's going to be on your children. Right? That's going to be on your congregation. Right? That's going to be all within the nation. You understand? Whatever the case may be, you got to understand how strong it is. When David ruled, what happened? We prospered. David's hands was clean. Right? David did the work of God. David had to show mercies of the Lord and besought the Lord with a pure heart. You understand? When certain men reign, you wonder why the kingdom prospers. Look at Solomon. There was peace all of his days. There's certain men that moved in the spirit and it testified with them. And then you have certain men that moved out of the spirit and it testified against them. It says, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. An unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. The Lord said an unwise king is going to destroy the people. What is that talking about? Let's find out. Let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10 and verse 16. It says, woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child. The Lord said, woe to the whole land when a king is a child. What does it mean when a king is a child? I don't mean he's 7 years old. Right? A king is a child, meaning his mentality is young. You got certain people, they're 40 years old and they still act as if they're 15. They're 45 years old, they still act like they're in kindergarten. They're 50-something years old and they still act as if they're in high school. Woe to that land of that man that's not a grown man and handling matters as he should be as a king. That moves around like a child, like things are a joke all the time. Like things ain't as serious as they need to be. They're not taking matters of war serious. You're not taking direction to keep the city bounds, right, to make sure that everybody's safe. The watchmen are upon the high towers and everything that's in order. It says, because he knoweth not how to go to the city. It says, woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child, and thy princes eat in the morning. What does it mean the princes eat in the morning? Meaning a prince is supposed to be on watch. He's not supposed to feel his face and get fat early in the morning. It's literally saying that if you eat and enjoy yourself and have a childlike mentality upon a throne, you're not going to rule and have any type of structure. It says, blessed art thou, O land, when thy king is the son of nobles, and thy princes eat in due season. Meaning it's a time to eat. It's a time to go to war. It's a time to judge. It's a time to do things. For strength is not for drunkenness. It says, by much slothfulness the building decayeth, and through idleness of the hands the house droppeth through. So you got to continue to keep that house in strength. Fasting with nails, the foundation, your house shot. You understand? All of these different things have to be flourishing for your house not to decay. And who has the house? Who's running the house? Who's going to judge in the house? The king. Well, let me get this quick precept. Let's go to the mighty book of Proverbs. Let's go to Proverbs, right? Chapter 29 and verse number 12. If a ruler hearken to lies, all his servants are wicked. Now think about it. When you have a husband or whatever the case may be, he started to give heed to these lewd doctrines. That's exactly what's going to trickle down to the wife. That's exactly what's going to trickle down to the kids. If a ruler over a congregation starts to see something in the scriptures that ain't there, what do you think is going to happen to the people that's in the congregation? You know, they may not know how to break it down correctly or as if it's even wrong. Next thing you know, they're starting to hearken into it. If a ruler hearken unto lies, then by default, all of his servants are wicked. Because look at Abraham. Abraham armed up his 318 armed servants and went to go take Lot. But what if Abraham or somebody that was like Abraham during that time took those armed servants and did God knows what with them? Come on, we're about to rob tonight. Then he armed up all of his servants and they went to go rob somebody. Or whatever the king say by default, the rulers and the servants and the princes that have to listen to. Look at Joab. Joab had to listen to David when David told Joab to number all Israel, and Joab knew that David wasn't making a wise decision. And it vexed Joab's heart when David told him to do that. But by default, he had to listen to King David. Let me get that real fast. So, I mean, you're going to be forced to be in situations that you shouldn't be in. All right, let me get this quick precept. All right. It's the mighty book of 1 Chronicles, chapter 21, and verse number 2. And David said to Joab, to the rulers of the people, go number Israel from Beersheba even to Dan, and bring the number of them to me, that I may know it. And Joab answered, the Lord make his people 100 times so many more as they be. But my lord the king, are they not all thy Lord's servants? Why then doeth my Lord require this thing? Why will he be a cause of trespass to Israel? So Joab knew that what David was going to ask was going to bring forth a judgment. It says, reading on, it says, verse 4, nevertheless, the king's word prevailed against Joab. Meaning Joab had to listen. If Joab didn't listen, David could kill him. He could lock him up. A king could do whatever he want to do. As a man, it seemingly as if you could do whatever you want to do. Okay, child, sit over there. Wife, do this. Right, we're going to do that. But the decisions you make is going to affect everybody. It could overthrow the whole household. It could destroy the whole nation. It could destroy the whole congregation. It could destroy your whole empire. This is a very serious matter, being a king and judging correctly and judging with patience and prudence. Right, let me get this quick precept. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 16. This is Proverbs chapter 16 and verse number 12. It is an abomination to kings to commit wickedness, for the throne is established by righteousness. Meaning your throne will only last as a king if you judge aright. The Lord said it's an abomination to kings to commit wickedness and do madness and folly. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 17. Right? Let's get it in the law. It's Deuteronomy chapter 17 and verse 15. It says, thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose, one from among thy brethren thou shalt set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. So the Lord said, look, you can't set a heathen over you as a king. There are no governors, right? There are no elected officials, right? No prime ministers, no president of the United States. It says, but he shall not multiply horses to himself. So one of the things in the law that the Lord told you is for you not to multiply things to yourself, for it not to have a proper, just balance. Because what can a king do? A king can do whatever he wants to do. There's really no cap on what the king can do unless the Lord said otherwise. But yet, if the king says something that the Lord never spoke against, they will have to listen to it. But the Lord is telling you that he shall not multiply horses to himself, meaning you should have a just balance in things that you have. Shouldn't have 15, 50 wives. Shouldn't have over 1,000, 3,000, 5,000 horses. You shouldn't desire all of these different things because your mind won't be in judgment. Your mind won't be on matters that's at hand of the nation. They'll be in matters of tending to your flock, your bulls, your wives, your households, your waterfalls, your vineyards, all of the precious things that you've been hoarding up as a king. It says, nor cause the people to return to Egypt, to the end that he should multiply horses, for as much as the Lord hath said unto you, ye shall henceforth no more that way, neither shall he multiply wives to himself. So a king can't multiply many wives into himself, because it'll overthrow his judgment. Now that's not talking about he can't have 2 wives, because David had 2 wives. Right? Many men have had more than one wife that was a king, but nevertheless, to the end of Solomon having an unjust amount of wives overthrew his judgment, because it wasn't according to the law which he should have been keeping. So you don't want to hoard up things in a king-like mentality just because you can, because it'll overthrow you. And you can apply this spiritually to anything. Everything has to be in weight and in a season. It says, to himself that his heart turn not away, neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. And it shall be, when he sitteth upon the throne of his judgment, that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book. Check that out, man. So don't call yourself a king if you're not sitting up there with that type of mentality, going over the law constantly. You should always be in the law. The law is literally the foundation of the Bible. If you're not reading the law and have a good understanding of the law, you won't have a good understanding of prophecy. You won't have a good understanding of Yahushua. You won't have a good understanding of Revelation. You won't have a good understanding at anything about spiritual matters of how the Lord is moving in the third heaven, on earth, sacrifices, spiritual sacrifices, the high priesthood. You won't have any understanding of anything if you do not understand this law. That's why the Lord wants you to read the law all the days of his life. It says, "And the book out of that which is before the priests, the Levites, and he shall be, so like, and it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life." For all you brothers that's slothful, you don't want to read, you don't want to pray, you don't want to fast, you don't want to teach, right? All you do is want to rule. You just want to tell somebody what to do. Just want to point, right, and be a tyrant. But that's off. The Lord said that's a hypocrite. You can't take half of your job description and not do the other half. That would be wicked, right? If you're a so-called cleaner or whatever the case may be, and you got to clean, or, you know, you a bus driver, or you don't just go to 5 stops, man, and then duck off and go to the park, right? You have to complete your work schedule, whatever it is, right, so you can get paid for it. They'll fire you for that. You can't just execute counsel and point and rule somebody, but not have the mentality and how to rule and read and do the things that the Lord told men and judges and kings that they ought to do. And that's the first indication that somebody's abusing the power that the Lord has given them. Paul said he will not stretch himself beyond his measure. Meaning Paul, like, I'm just a man. I'm not going to stretch myself beyond what the Lord told me I could do, because that would be wicked. And a lot of people stretch themselves beyond what the Lord has given them, even though they're in seats of authority, or they're a king, or they're a husband, or they're a father. Or just because you're a father, don't mean you can tell your child, all right, jumping jack time. Right, you get some popcorn. Let's see who's going to pass out first. Right, you and your damn brother is sitting up there seeing which child is going to pass out first. And they just going like this. Dad, I don't know. Dad. Right, and you sitting up there just getting a kick out of it. Right, let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse number 8. It says, "For though I should boast somewhat more of our authority, which the Lord hath given us for edification, and not for your destruction." The Lord said, look, through the hand of Paul, though I should boast somewhat of our authority, which the Lord had given us for edification. The authority given is not to be a fool and a wicked man, to be Nabal, right? The Lord has given you authority to do what with? For the edification, not for your destruction. I should not be ashamed, that I may not seem as if I would terrify you by letters. So even though Paul did have the authority to terrify people with letters, to set the church straight, to get on people, to kick people out the church, to bring men in the church, he had all of this power to do these things. And all of these different places in Corinth, right? Ephesus, right? During the Aegean Sea, during the Greek coast, he had all of that power, doing all of that selling to all of these men. But he said, look, I'm not going to do that. Verse 10, "For his letters say they are weightier and powerful, but his bodily presence is weak." People were saying when Paul actually got to these churches that, damn, man, Paul wrote this? Paul's a nice guy. He's not even that bad. All of this stuff talking about deliver you to Satan, and he don't even act like that. So it was acting as if Paul's bodily presence was weak, right? But his letters were weightier and strong. It says, his presence is weak and his speech contemptible. Let such an one think this, that such as we are in word by letters when we are absent, such will we be also in deed when we are present. Check this out. For we dare not make ourselves of the number, or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves, but they measuring themselves by themselves and comparing themselves amongst themselves are not wise. What does that mean? It says, for we dare not make ourselves of that number. Meaning no one's going to call themselves the elect. Oh, I'm king, da-da-da-da-da. And they're proclaiming their greatness. That's off. It says, or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves. Meaning men that commend themselves in matters, and yes, I did this. I completed this, and I knocked this war out, and I'm this and I'm that. We're not going to commend and tag ourselves with those type of men that had that mentality. but they measuring themselves by themselves. You can't measure yourself by yourself, because then what's your standard? Because if it's up to you, hey, look, man, you woke up early this morning, you went to work on time, you read your little 2 chapters, right, and you fasted once every month. I didn't do too bad this week. Well, what standard are you holding yourself by? You got to measure yourself by Yahweh. Because the Lord said you have to reach the full measure. Right, let me get that real fast. And that's wise for Paul to say that. Because a lot of men will measure themselves by themselves. You know what, I cooked real good. You know, it was good. You know, I did a good job. Right, no, don't measure yourself by yourself. I cooked better than last week. It's not too bad. No, measure yourself by a professional chef. Measure yourself by King David when you went to war. Measure yourself by somebody that's above you so that you don't match up to your greatness. That's off. Right? This is the book of Ephesians, right? Chapter 4 and verse 15. But speak the truth in love may grow up into him in all things, which is the head, even Yahushua, from whom the whole body filthily joined together and compacted by that which every joint supplieth, according to the effectual working in the measure of every part, maketh increase of the body into the edifying of itself in love. So the Lord said, and compact by every slaki, each which every joint supplieth, according to the effectual working in the measure of every part. So every part had to reach the measure of Yahushua, meaning your arm, your fingers, your hand, your neck, your head, your back muscles, your thighs, your shins. All of these things have to grow into the image of the Lord. And this is talking about growing as what? The church. Meaning this brother has to expound. This sister has to grow. This child has to grow. This brother has to repent. This brother has to grow stronger in prophecy. This brother has to be a mightier apostle. This brother has to learn to be a better disciple. All of these men's members are growing until you get to the image of Yahushua. That's where we measure ourselves. We don't measure ourselves by ourselves, because then you'll be going off. Right, let me go back to that. This is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 10 and verse number 13. But we will not boast of things without our measure. So Paul said, look, whatever the Lord didn't set me over to rule and have authority in, I'm not going to boast over things that are without my measure. I'm not going to do things past what the Lord has given me authority to do. Because think about it. What if you woke up and you was the king of Israel in the ancient world? You know how many brothers, if brothers are in captivity, and I'm not saying no names and no camps, but you see how certain people act now in captivity. Now, how they move, how they speak to people, how high they act. Think as if they really had some authority under the Lord. And we all don't have authority right now. We're in captivity. The little, authority that the Most High has given us to set up congregations and things like that, all praise to the Most High. But I'm talking about authority directly from Yahweh Bashem Yahushua and anointed by a prophet to be anointed in front of hundreds and thousands of men, women, and children in the eyes of God. I mean, how many people would judge upright? How many wives will brothers have? I mean, how often would you see the king? Or would he be up in his palace? Would he be up, sitting up there eating grapes, getting fanned by all of his concubines, right? And sleeping all day and read the law once a week? What man will really take that authority and not abuse it? Because, I mean, as a king, like I said, you could kind of really do what you want to do, right? And the Lord kind of let a lot of these kings reign for many years. Look at Manasseh, over 50 years. David. Like, these men reign for long periods of time. And you can reign in wickedness for a long time. Right? This is 2 Corinthians 10 and 14. For we stretch not ourselves beyond our measure, as though we reach not unto you. For we are come as far as to you, as in preaching the gospel of Yahushua, not boasting of things without our measure, that is, of other man's labors, but having hope and faith is increased, and that we enlarged by you according to the rule abundantly. Right? Check that out. Right? Right, let me get this other quick precept. Right, let's go to the mighty book of 1 Samuel. So all of these things you got to keep in mind as a king and having a king-like mentality. Because a lot of kings abuse their power. What was a king that abused his power? Saul. Saul abused his power. Saul took the power that the Lord has given him and used it to be a tyrant. This is the book of 1 Samuel chapter 14 and verse number 24. And it says, and the men of Israel were distressed that day, for Saul had adjured the people, saying, cursed be the man that eateth any food unto even, that I may be avenged of my enemies. So none of the people tasted any food. That's off. Who is Saul to tell the whole nation not to eat for the day until he avenges himself on his enemies? That's like you waking up as a man in the house. Hey, look, nobody in here going to eat until I get paid. And then you go like this, until I get paid, man. You start feeling yourself, smelling yourself, giving orders. And look, nobody in here go to sleep until the house spotless and clean. And it's 3 in the morning. It's 12 o'clock at night. You just start telling people to do stuff that you wouldn't lay on yourself, like a Pharisee spirit. So he told these men, hey, look, it said the men of Israel were distressed that day. And Saul had adjured the people, saying, cursed be the man. Now you putting curses on people. Put a Saul putting curses on people in the name of God, in the name of the Most High, that if you eat, and that may scare somebody because he's the king. You got to really look how the king was in the eyes of all the people, and that they were fearful of the king because he was set, ordained, and anointed by God. So a man anointed, you don't really buck up against that. A lot of people, say, which he was, David was so humble. David didn't come up against Saul. I mean, yeah, he didn't, not to take anything away from that, but he didn't do that because Saul was anointed by God. Keeping everything in context, Saul was the king. You came up against the king, the Lord will come up against you. So nobody could chop down the king, grab the king off the throne. That was a false judgment. Nobody could do that. The Lord has to get up with the king. So David, had ample opportunity to kill Saul, but he didn't. One, because David was loving. And two, keeping everything in context through the understanding of kings and the law, he couldn't touch him. He was the anointed. He's the anointed of God. That's what a king is. David's often called the anointed when you read the book of Psalms, chapter 89. Men that are anointed, right, when you read the book of 2 Kings, the 9th chapter, that's how men got anointed. 1 Kings, the 2nd chapter, right? Let me get at least one of these precepts just to prove that. So it was a big deal when men got anointed to be king. This is the book of 2 Samuel, so like your 2 Kings, chapter 9, verse 3. And take the box of oil and pour it on his head and say, thus saith the Lord, I have anointed thee king over Israel, that open the door and flee and tarry not. So it was a big deal. A prophet would come, a prophet would anoint you, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah, in the front of everybody. What happened when Solomon was anointed king? It was an earthquake. Damn near it was an earthquake. There was so many people screaming and yelling. Now let me get that real fast. This is the book of 1 Kings. Where I'm going to go back to that in 2 Samuel. The book. So like, bear with me. It's the book of 1 Kings, right? Chapter 1, and I'm going to start at 39. It says, and Zodak the priest took an horn of oil out of the tabernacle and anointed Solomon. So, I mean, this is what the priesthood. You got the priest Zodak taking the holy oil out of the tabernacle, pouring it on his head. It says, and blew the trumpet, and all the people said, God save Solomon. So it's like a parade. God save Solomon, God save Solomon. They blowing his shofars, he getting anointed. He probably like this in the eyes of God, right? It's probably a sunny day, who knows, right? It's beautiful outside, all hell breaking loose. And the people came up after him, and the people piped with pipes and rejoiced great joy, and the earth rent with the sound of them. What does it mean the earth rent? Meaning all hell was breaking loose. Like doo. And everybody was turning up. Burn, it was throwing up the chauffeurs. And Solomon like this, he getting anointed. All hell breaking loose. It said the earth rent, but the sound of it. And that's all hip talk. Meaning with so much noise, so much turning up, so much of a celebration for King Solomon, that is as if it was an earthquake. So everybody knew the power that a king possessed. So for anybody to come up against Saul, even though they knew he was wrong, is damn near blasphemy. Let's go back to the book of 2 Samuel. Right, I want to get that real fast. Going back to being a wicked king and not ruling upright. Right? Shalaki, bear with me. This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 14 and verse 21 again. It says, and the men of Israel were distressed that day, and Slaki, for Saul had adjured the people, saying, cursed be the man that eateth any food until even, that I may be avenged of my enemies. So none of the people tasted any food. Right? Jumping down to verse 28. Then answered one of the people and said, thy father straitly charged the people with an oath, saying, cursed be the man that eateth any food this day. And the people were faint. So he didn't care that people were faint. He didn't care people that were sorrowful, hungry, about to pass out. Then said Jonathan, my father have troubled the land. See, I pray you, how mine eyes have been enlightened, because I tasted a little honey, right? A little of this honey. So Jonathan didn't hear the oath, right? He didn't really know what was going on, but he tasted the honey, and his eyes were enlightened because he was faint. And when you eat food or have something to drink after a long fast or after a long journey, it does something to your body. Kind of wakes you back up. It revives you. It helps you, right? So, I mean, this man would have had all of Israel die for the pride of his own heart, right? And that's off. And you can't move in that type of spirit, right? Let me get another quick precept. Let's go to the mighty book of 2 Kings. Another thing as a king with a king-like mentality is you have to be a king by yourself. You don't have to be a king when people are around all the time. You have to have some type of integrity by yourself. To judge matters and be wise and have integrity when you're alone. A lot of people want to put on their cape and their gown and their garment when people are around, but then they take it off when they're by themselves. It's 2 Kings chapter 12 and verse 1. I'm going to start at 2. And Joash did that which was right in the sight of the Lord all his days, wherein Jehoiada the priest instructed him. So it said he only did right in the eyes of God all the days wherein Jehoiada the priest instructed him. Meaning without this man's instruction, he wouldn't have been doing right. You don't want to have a person that only does righteousness when their elder is around or when their husband is around. Like she acts as a damn fool by herself. When her husband is around, she's shamefaced, she's quiet, she's submissive, right? She not out of order. But as soon as her husband leaves, she's acting a fool, right? Or a child. The child listens until the father leaves the room, and then the child acts like a fool, right? You don't want to have that type of spirit to where you're only righteous around certain people. That's fake. You got to be righteous 24/7 to the best of your ability. And when you fall short, right, you pray to the Father, which is in secret, right? You don't have to have that mentality. Hey, look, man, I'm only going, when I come to camp or when it's the Shabbat day, right? Jumping down to verse, let me see what I want, 17. It says, then Hazael, king of Syria, went up and fought against Goth and took it. And Hazael set his face to go up to Jerusalem. So as a king, if somebody's coming up to war against you, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to beseech the Lord. Supposed to pray, supposed to be strong. He's supposed to go to war and he's supposed to fight. Verse 18. And Jehoash, the king of Judah, took all the hallowed things that Jehoshaphat and Jeroboam, Joram, and Hazariah, his father's kings of Judah, had dedicated of his own hallowed things, and all the gold that was found in the treasures of the house of the Lord and the king's house, and sent it to Hazael, king of Syria, and he went away from Jerusalem. That's off. He took all of the chief things out of the temple and gave it unto the king. Now, what is that spiritually? If you're a king, you're giving all your substance away to the heathen. You're giving all your substance away to this world, to Satan. Giving all your substance away to things that don't matter. Now, you got to fight. Every king, when you read the book of 1st and 2nd Kings, they didn't fight. Some of them gave up. They threw in the towel. They were scared. They didn't get counsel. They moved on their own accord. Right? I mean, when you read the book of Isaiah, let me get this quick precept. In Isaiah. As a king, you got to fight, man. No matter if you're outnumbered, what's going on, you got to have that mentality as a king. Hey, look, man, we're going to war. It's Isaiah chapter 7 and verse number 2. This whole thing is fire. I'm going to start at 1. And it came to pass in the days of Asa, the son of Joram, the son of Uzziah, the king of Judah, that Rezin, king of Syria, and Pekah, the son of Remaliah, the king of Israel, went up towards Jerusalem to war against it, but could not prevail against it. And it was told the house of David, saying, Syria is confederate with Ephraim. And this heart was moved in the heart of his people, as the trees of the wood are moved with the wind. So, I mean, what's going on during the time of Isaiah? Right? You had Tiglath-Pileser III coming up against, right, with Syria and all hell breaking loose. And Hazer, what did he do? He bowed down, man. You can't bow down to these heathens and give away all of your substance. What happened when you read the book, right, of 1st Kings, the 20th chapter? Let me get this real fast. It's the book of 1st Kings, chapter 20, and verse number 5, right? It says, and the messengers came again and said, thus speaketh Benadad, saying, although I have sent unto thee, saying, thou shalt deliver me thy silver. So he's trying to strong arm him. These heathens, they'll strong arm you, man. You got Benadad, Tiglath-Pileser III, right? You got all of these heathens, they'll come up and try to rob you, man. Right? You got Nebuchadnezzar coming to Jerusalem. When these heathens are on their coast and the Lord has set them in power, they're going to be coming and taking down cities and coasts. But as a king, right, you can't give away your substance like they did. What happened to Hezekiah? Did Hezekiah give the tribute? That's exactly why we went to war and all hell broke loose. Because Hezekiah said, you know what, I'm not giving a tribute every year. I'm not giving y'all no money, man. You're not getting nothing out of my temple. It is what it is. And if you got some type of way you feel about it, take it up with the Most High. And all hell broke loose, and guess what? We went to war. And the Lord had to smite them down by the holy angels. And that's what happens when you have faith, and you have integrity, and you keep your kingdom, right? It's the book of 1st Kings, chapter 20, and verse number 6. It says, I'm going to start at 5. And the messengers came again and said, thus speaketh Benadad, saying, although I have sent unto thee, saying, thou shalt deliver me thy silver and thy gold and thy wives and thy children. Yet I will send my servants unto thee tomorrow about this time, and they shall search thine house and the houses of thy servants, and it shall be that whatsoever is pleasant in thine eyes, thou shalt put it in their hand and take it away. That's off. That's like saying open up your door and whatever you see, my TV, right? You can take my shoes. You could take all my Bibles. You could take my Apocrypha. You could take all my menorahs. You could take every chief and pleasant thing that's in my house, and you could carry it away yonder. No, we're not giving up. That's not a mentality of a righteous king. What happened when they spoiled David and robbed David and took David's wives? David went right up to the Most High, beseeched the Lord, and the Lord said, thou shalt surely go up, recover all. And what did the Lord do through the hand of David? He went to war, and he took what belonged to him back. Right? Don't give your substance unto anybody. The Lord said in the book of Sirach, the 33rd chapter, let me get this real fast. It's Sirach chapter 33 and verse 19. Give not thy son and wife and thy brother and friend power over thee while thou livest, and give not thy goods to another, lest it repent thee, and thou entreat for the same again. What does that mean, don't give your goods to another? That's not talking about a candy bar, right? And, you know, it's a little good. It's a little Snickers bar. It's a little good. That's not what that's talking about. It says, give not thy son, thy wife, thy brother, and thy friend power over thee. Because once you give somebody something that belongs to you, they have power over you. Meaning what? You give your wife your car and you don't have a car anymore, but now she has your car, which is your substance. Now she has power over you. Now you're asking her for a ride. Now you're asking her, can you pick me up? Now you're asking her, do you mind if, I borrow it back, for the weekend because I got to go to camp, right? You don't want to give your son your TV, right? Now you don't have a TV anymore. Now he has your substance. Now you can't watch the breakdowns and take notes anymore. You're sitting up there beseeching him for the things that you gave him. Lord said, don't take your substance, your inheritance, and what belongs to you and give it to another. Is it okay to share? Is it okay to pass things down as an inheritance? Yes. Is it okay to give gifts? Is it okay to borrow? Yes. But it's talking about on a deeper level. Meaning, as a man, as a king, do not give away your throne. Do not give away your sepulcher. Do not let somebody coincide to make ruling judgments with you. You keep all the preeminence and authority as a king. What a king does is he counsels. He doesn't say, you know what? Who wants to make this judgment today? Then all of the counselors, they get up and say, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. Oh, you make the counsel. You make the call today. And the king sits back. No, the king hears the matters. The king lays it to heart and the king makes the decision. It says to another, lest it repent thee and thou entreat for the same again. I mean, you're going to be entreating for the same thing that you gave away. Verse 20, as long as thou livest and hast breath in thee, give not thyself over to anything. Meaning, don't give your soul and your substance and your things that belong to you to anybody else. Right? The phone should be in your name. The car should be in your name. The house should be in your name. Everything should be in your name. It says, for better is it that thy children should seek to thee than thou shalt stand to their courtesy. Right? It says, in all thy works, keep to thyself the preeminence. So the Lord's with a man having preeminence. And women got to understand the role of a man to have that preeminence. You can't say, well, you think that you're all of that, and who do you think you are, and you think you're so high, and that's off. A man is supposed to have preeminence, supposed to have rulership, but his rulership should always be righteous, and it should always be according to the law, not according to his own vain emotional feelings when he overthrows the house, the congregation, and the nation by his actions. The Lord says, in all thy works, keep to thyself the preeminence. Leave not a stain in thine honor. Meaning what? If you left a stain in your honor, you left something to be judged or to be given to somebody else. Leave everything into your name. Meaning what? When David went to war, all glory went to the Most High through the hand of David. David slew 10,000. Now, did David actually slay 10,000 men when he went to war? Did he take his sword and slay 10,000 men? No, he didn't slay 10,000 men. That would be impossible. And what were the other men doing in war if David was slaying 10,000 men? No, it says David slayed 10,000 men because David was the head of the army. Like what they say, the U.S. Army prevailed. Joe Biden went to war and Joe Biden, let's say, took down XYZ. Does that mean Joe Biden got off of his sick, nasty throne that he sits on, right? He woke up out of sleep, right? And then he went to war? No. But him being an authority and preeminence, his name is as if he won. So don't leave a stain in your honor by the things that you do that the Most High gave you. Right, let me get this quick precept. Let's go to the mighty book of 2 Chronicles. Now, what does a rightful king do with the people that's under him? How does he move the nation and counsel? This is the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 19 and verse 5. And he set judges in the land throughout all the fenced cities of Judah, city by city. Who did this? Jehoshaphat. So when Jehoshaphat was judging, he didn't leave his judgment up to just him. He said, you know what? In this country, I'm going to have this. In this city, I'm going to have that. In this place, I'm going to have that. Up, down this hill, this valley, whatever the case may be, I'm setting up judges throughout all the land. And that's a righteous thing. You don't have judges throughout all the land in America, right? You just got so-called judgment halls by unjust Edomites that judge you and lock you up without investigating the matter or having any witnesses. It says, and said to the judges, take heed what ye do. So he commanded the judges that was under him to take heed to what you're actually doing. I mean, don't just judge just because you have the power to judge. It says, for ye judge not for man, but for the Lord, who is with you in the judgment. And that's deep. He said, look, man, when you judge this matter, don't judge it for yourself. Because a lot of people be like, yeah, I remember he did that to me. Yeah. I'm going to show him. Yeah, you ain't know I was in this position now, did you? Yeah. Now, you know what? Do away with him. Get away with him. Or you know what? A woman come crying and everything's okay. You give her a hug. What did he do? Well, surely he's evil, right? And she's sitting up there smiling and laughing under your shirt. So you have to judge matters upright. It says, wherefore now let the fear of the Lord be upon you, and take heed to do it, for there is no iniquity with the Lord our God, no respect of persons, nor taking of gifts. So the Lord said, don't be afraid of man's face. A lot of people are afraid of man's face when they judge matters. You know, I don't wanna offend him, and that's my brother. And now I've seen personally a lot of brothers make foolish decisions off of the fact in the case of their friends, right? And you can't mix emotions with judgment. You know, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, man. What did Solomon say? He said, man, cut the child in two. That was a very harsh thing to say, and brutally blunt, man. Just cut him in two. You know, how many people would have said that? That might have come off rude. You know, you might have had a little bit more compassion. Sometimes compassion and being nice isn't always the way to go. Sometimes executing judgment, you got to get loud. The Lord said, though I be rude in speech, yet not in knowledge. Sometimes you gotta be an a-hole, man, in righteousness. You know what? I don't care about what this is and who you are, but it's me. It's me. It don't matter if it's you. And the Lord said in the book of Deuteronomy, and then you kind of just lay down a judgment in the matter. It don't matter how long you done labored with a brother. It don't matter how long you know a brother. It don't matter if it's your wife, if it's your children. You can't get too attached, you know, with your emotions, with judgment at all, because it's going to overthrow yourself. And anybody emotional can't see clear. That's why a lot of women get beat physically, but their emotions are still to that man. And before that they depart, you understand, and get themselves together, they suffer another black eye, and they suffer another broken tooth physically, right? Somebody's doing drugs in the house, but their love and emotions tells them that they're going to change. The Lord said, moreover, in Jerusalem did Jehoshaphat set the Levites and the priests and of the chief of the fathers of Israel for the judgment of the Lord and for the controversies. Because you got controversial topics, man. You know, well, what if my wife, you know, she did this and, you know, I really couldn't prove it, but then I saw that. What does that mean? That's a controversial topic. You know, this brother, you know, he owed me this, but he said he paid me back, but I didn't receive it. But yet he has the receipt, but I don't know if he made that up or not. That's a controversial topic. Like, you got controversial topics that, you know, you got to have a mentality to judge. Everything is not going to say your brother stole from you at 9 o'clock. He showed you the receipt, and this is the precept that you got to go to. Go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 19. No, everything's not going to be as crystal clear. That takes for you to have a mind of judgment. That's actually a spiritual gift. Right, let me get that real fast. Everybody's not a judge. Everybody's not a king. Now, every woman is not a Proverbs 31 woman or aspiring to be. Right, let me get this quick precept. This is the mighty book, right, of 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 6. And there are diversity of operations, but the same God worketh all in all. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal. For the one is given the spirit of word of wisdom, and to another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another gift of healings by the same Spirit, to another the working of miracles, to another prophecy, to another discerning of spirits. So you could discern spirits if you're in the Spirit. Meaning you could kind of know when somebody's lying. You can know when somebody's not being upright. You know, they're blinking too much, they're twitching. You can see their spirit as something is off. You could see a brother and he may be, hey, Shalom, Ak, what's going on? Ak, you all right? You know, something look like it's not right with you. You okay? Then the brother start breaking down, yeah, I'm really not okay, man. I just lost my job and my car going out on me. And you know, you could discern his spirit, right? A king is supposed to judge, and these men that Jehoshaphat set up, they said, look, they got to be for all the controversial topics in Israel to be able to judge them correctly and uprightly. And that takes time, and that takes a spiritual gift, and to be chosen by the Lord to do so, right? Reading on. It says, verse number 9, and he charged them, saying, thus shall ye do in the fear of the Lord, faithfully and with a perfect heart. I'm going to read that again. And he charged them, saying, thus shall ye do in the fear of the Lord. So one thing that ciphers a lot of men, or all men, I would say, from the ancient world to now is one particular thing that's very serious. These men were set up by kings. They were set up by the Most High. They were set up, you understand, by priests. They were set up by man of renownness. They were set up from old. Us, you understand, men in this generation, right? The spirit that a lot of brothers move in is as if, you know, they could just judge presumptuously off to their own will and have no fear behind it. You have to understand how serious it is to judge and being in the seat of authority and to execute judgment. So if that judgment is off, if that judgment is not correct and right, and you told that brother he wasn't really married, you told that sister she wasn't really married, you told that sister she can get a divorce, right? You told that brother that, you know, he don't really have to forgive him because he was in the wrong, or whatever counsel you was in, you're going to have to answer to the Most High. And the scary thing about giving counsel is you don't know if you're wrong or not in your eyes. So you're not repenting for it because you don't know if the counsel you gave was correct or not. You don't know that the judgment you gave was wrong because nobody's telling you it was wrong. You don't know if the things that you're doing in the seat that you're in is right or wrong, according, you understand, to the Most High, by what you don't see in the precepts. That's going to be a weightier judgment that the Most High has waiting for you in the day of judgment, right? Let me get this quick precept. Let's go to the mighty book, right, of 1 Samuel. It's the mighty book of 1 Samuel, chapter 8 and verse number 14. Shalaki. Matter of fact, I'm going to come back to that one. Let's get the mighty book of, let me see what I want. Let's get 1 Timothy. It's the mighty book of 1 Timothy, chapter 4, and I'm going to start at verse 11. These things command and teach. Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers in word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, in purity. I'm going to read that again. Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example. The Lord is telling Timothy through the hand of Paul to be an example. There's no greater way to tell somebody to do something other than to show them by action, not by word. Whoa, this is what you should do. You should do it this way. You should grab this beam. You should nail it this way. Or you could show them. You know, I don't know if brothers been through school, you know, trade school or college, architectural work, or, you know, they build a cabin or a chair or a table that they bought off a line. But the better way to really learn how to do something is to watch somebody do it step by step. And then you kind of take that same nail and you watch it. You take that same beam and you nail it that way. You take that same screwdriver and you twist it this way. Or you could open up, right, all the instructions. And when you open up the instructions, you're kind of lost. You're trying to figure out, is this that screw or was it really this screw? By the time you don't put it together halfway, right, you got 15 screws left over. And you wonder why your kid, you understand, fell off the bed in the middle of the night, right, and crumpled it down all on them. Because you really have to show people when you do stuff. You can't just tell people what to do. The Lord said, hey, look, you got to be an example. I mean, the Lord said, let your light shine. If you're a king, you shouldn't have to say you're a king. If you're a judge, you shouldn't have to say you're a judge. The Lord said, let another praise thee and not thyself. I mean, if somebody should say, man, this is a prophet of God. Right after you hear that about 2 or 3 times, hey, the Lord speak of one shade twice. You don't have to say you're a prophet of God. You don't have to say you're a king. You don't have to proclaim yourself as something and put yourself as some high man. It says, let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of believers in word, meaning the words that you say, you should hold yourself to them. The Lord holds himself to the words that he says. Hey, the Lord said that he's coming back, and we believe that. The Lord has given us promises. He's going to keep that. The Most High said he's not going to cast us away. He won't be angry and wroth forever. Right? The Most High will defend us. He will be our refuge in times of trouble. These are the things that the Lord is going to perform and keep his word on. Keep your word as a man. The Lord said, let me get this quick precept in the book of Isaiah. Don't be a man that can't keep his word. That's even a spirit on Jake in the world. Hey, my word is all I got, man. My word is my bond. You know, all I got is my word. You know, Jake say a lot of stuff. Right? You got to keep your word. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 48 and verse 9. For my name's sake, I will not defer my anger. And for my praise, I will refrain from thee, that I cut thee not off. That's the Most High speaking. What did the Most High say? Let's read it again. For my name's sake, I will defer my anger. Meaning I'm mad and I could kill you, but because I said that I won't kill you, because I said I will give you an expected end, because I said I will give you the kingdom, my word is going to prevail over my emotions. And that's deep when you think about it. Does your word prevail over your emotions, or does your emotions prevail over your word? Because if you said you wouldn't do something as a man, but then you get emotional when you do it, then you have no type of strength to possess yourself. You're not a real good king in a matter. Because if you get mad too much or an emotion reign over you and you got the power to do something, I don't know no man that wouldn't do it unless that man has integrity and strength and prudence and patience. The Lord said, for my name's sake, meaning Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, has said that he would give us the kingdom. He said these things. And because he keeps his word, his anger does not matter and prevail over his emotions. It says, and my praise I will refrain thee, that I cut thee not off. But I have refined thee, but not with silver. I have chosen thee in the furnace of adversity. Check this out. For my own sake, even for my own sake, will I do it. The Lord said, I'm doing it for myself because I said it. I'm not doing it for you. Because, I mean, do we really deserve it? He was just smoking weed 4 years ago. Smoking crack 3 years ago. He was on drugs 9 years ago. Right? He was a whoremonger 8 months ago. The Lord said, look, for myself, I've promised this all the way from the time of Abram. I've given this all the way from the time of Isaac. I've promised this all the way to my servant Jacob. So from all the way back then, before you even came in existence, for my name and my promise and my word will I perform it and keep it. It says, I will do it, for how should my name be polluted? And I will not give my glory unto another. The Lord said, whatever I said, my name's not going to be polluted. Meaning you ain't going to be like, aha, the Lord said this, but he actually did that. You know, that will put a spirit on Jake. A lot of brothers will fall out the truth. Maybe it's a contradiction. Maybe this isn't real. No, when you have some type of strength and structure to yourself as a king and a man that say you're going to do something and perform the thing that you've done, right? That gives a spirit of respect. That gives a spirit of wanting to submit unto. Because we want to submit unto the Lord. Because I've never seen the Lord lie. The Lord is not a man that he should lie. I've never seen anything promised that did not come to pass or isn't on his way to perform it. The Lord said, I'm read that again. For my own sake, even for my own sake, do it for yourself. Move in the spirit of the Lord. You may tell your woman, you know, she may be upset about something you said and it hurts her. But like, I'm not going to say that again. I know it hurts you. It breaks you down. I didn't know it was this serious to you. I'm not going to mention that again. It's not speaking nothing that can't be done. Brother, keep your word. Have integrity. No, for my own name's sake, I'm going to do it. Because I promised you that, and I said that, and I'm going to perform that, and I'm going to stand on that. Hey, take care of your children. You know, be a light to the nation. These are things you should stand on as a king and moving in that spirit that you're not going to go back from. A lot of people go back from their word, go back from the thing that they perform, and leaves them in a state of hypocrisy, right? A hypocrite, unbelievable, and untrustworthy. It says, and I will not give my glory unto another. Right? Let me get this quick precept. Let's go to the mighty book, right, of 2 Chronicles. It's the mighty book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 25. And it reads, verse 12. I'm going to start at 14. It says, now it came to pass after Amaziah was come from the slaughter of the Edomites, that he brought the gods of the children of Seir and set them up to be his gods, and bowed down himself before them and burned incense unto them. So this man, he just came back from slaughtering the Edomites, but yet set up these same Edomites, their gods, to bow down unto. And this is a reprobate king. Because the same people and nation you brought down, you're going to worship their gods. It says, wherefore the anger of the Lord was kindled against Amaziah, and he sent unto him a prophet, which said unto him, why hast thou sought after the gods of the people, which could not deliver their own people out of their hand? And he came to pass, as he talked with them, that the king said unto him, why art thou made a king's counselor? Forbear. Why shouldest thou be smitten? Why the prophet forbare and said, I know that God hath determined to destroy thee, because thou hast done this, and hast not hearkened unto my counsel. Check that out. The Lord said through the hand of this prophet, because you didn't hearken unto counsel, and he's talking to the king, that the Lord was going to destroy this man. So as a king, you got to hearken unto counsel too. You can't just be in a high state, give orders, and all your orders are prudent. You have to be able to take counsel. Not just give counsel, but take counsel. Didn't David have counselors? Let me get that real fast. Hey, look, since you didn't hearken unto my counsel, the Lord will surely destroy thee. So no matter how important or high you are, you should always be able to take counsel. This is the book, right, of 2 Samuel, chapter 16, and verse number 20, right? And it reads, it says, then said Absalom unto Ahithophel, give counsel among you what we should do. And Ahithophel said unto Absalom, go unto thy father's concubines, and he, Selachia, which he have left to keep the house, and all Israel shall hear, and thou shalt abhor thy father, then shall the hands of all that are with thee be strong. Right? So he's giving them counsel. It says, so they spread Absalom a tent upon the top of the house, and Absalom went into his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel. And the counsel of Ahithophel, that's why he did this lewd, wicked thing. Because he trusted this man's counsel so much, because his counsel was as if it was the counsel of the Most High. Right? You have old, ancient, gray-haired men that give very, 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 very sound counsel in the elder ancient world. And those men was as if you were inquiring from the mouth of the Most High. It says, and the counsel of Ahithophel, which he counseled in those days, was as if a man had inquired at the oracle of God. So was all the counsel of Ahithophel, both with David and with Absalom. So kings have counselors. Kings aren't just by themselves upon the throne. So even kings have counselors. Kings, you understand, they're prudent, they're wise. They read the law all the days of their life. They have counselors. They set up judges that are under them. All of these things that we're going over through the spirit is the mindset of how a king should move in, and all the things that kings did that were off that we should refrain ourselves from doing. Right? Let me get these last two precepts. All right, let me get these last two precepts. All right, Salaki, bear with me. This is the book of Luke, chapter 22, and verse number 24. It says, and there was also strife among them, which of them should be accounted the greatest. So was strife among the apostles, which one should be found the greatest, right? It says, and he said unto them, the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them. Meaning kings of this world and of the heathen, they get off on exercising lordship over brothers, right? And over their own people. That's off. Right? You go to the army, I said, huh? Then everybody go like this. And then he get in your face. What are you doing this morning? Fix your bed. Right? Then he fixing his bed. Right? And he just getting off on yelling in his face. Right? Have you seen Major Payne? I'm trying to think of a scene out of Major Payne. Right? And stuck them underground and their heads was sticking out of the ground. He shaved their heads bald and was spraying water on them. Night and day. Right? He's spraying them all. They all bald head. They're sitting up there. They're in the army. Just exercising lordship over people. Right? Getting branded in the army. Getting popped in the army. Right? Waking up 2 o'clock in the morning. Right? Just for them to say you can go back to sleep. And then they'll wake you right back up at 3:30 in the morning. Right? Having to wear those pointy hats. Just exercising all type of lordship over your body. Telling you got to shave your beard. Right? You got to dress this way. You got to do this. That's off. We don't get down like that as a people. That's what these heathens do. These heathens rule over one another and rule over people in a wicked domestic way, like an animal and a beast. It says, and the Gentiles, and he said unto them, the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and they that exercise authority upon them are called benefactors. But ye shall not be so. But he that is greatest among you, meaning the higher you grow in knowledge, wisdom, strength, giving orders, don't mean you beat up on people that are under you, man. Right? You give them love, compassion. Right? You don't really judge a child for not knowing matters as you know them because you understand that that's a child. The same like mentality, you gotta say, well, this brother may not know the law like myself. He may not be learned in certain aspects, and he may fall short in different, situations. So let me judge it according to his understanding, not according to my understanding. It says, but ye shall not be so, but he that is greatest among you, let him be as the younger, and he that is chief, as he that doeth serve. So David was in a mentality to serve the people. David served the people. Yahushua served the people. Yahushua said he will girt up your loins in the kingdom. Right, let me get this quick precept. So here Yahushua is supposed to be ruling in the kingdom, which he is. But this is what he said he's going to do in the kingdom. This is Luke chapter 12 and verse, I'm going to start at 37. Blessed are those servants whom the Lord, when he come, shall find watching. So the Lord said, blessed is those servants. When the Lord actually does come back, he founds those servants watching. It says, verily I say unto you, that he shall gird himself and make them to sit down to meat, and will come forth and serve them. Yahushua said he's going to serve you in the kingdom. Blessed are those servants. When the Lord comes back, he's going to find you watching. What's your reward? The Lord going to girt you up. He going to sit you down at meat, and he going to serve you. Your king said that about you. You. And we sin. We drink iniquity like water. We go off. How does that make any sense that our king said he was going to serve us? But yet men in a seat of authority now act as if they can't serve their brother. Or they don't even have to be in a seat of authority. They just can't serve their brother or help their brother. That's the mentality of our king. And our head is what? Yahushua. So whatever we think should be according to thus saith the Lord and according to the mentality of our Lord. Going back to the book of Luke, chapter 22, verse 27. For whether is greater, he that sitteth at meat or he that serveth? Is not he that sitteth at meat? But I am among you as he that serveth. So you should always have a servant mentality. How can I help a brother? How could I, get his counsel? How could I give arms? And how could I do this? How could I do that? Doesn't matter the status or state that you're in over a brother, spiritually or mentally, financially, whatever the situation. And the Lord said, plain upon tables, I am among you as he that serveth. Ye are they which have continued with me in my temptations. And I appoint unto you a kingdom, as my Father had appointed unto me, and ye may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and sit on thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. So he told them to serve right now, that you may rule in the kingdom. So we have to serve. We're sent to serve, that in due time the Most High may grant us, through his son Yahushua, to be joint heirs with him, to be able to reign. All right, let me get this last precept. This is the mighty book. Right, of Revelation, chapter 2 and verse 25. As a king, it says, but that which ye have already hold fast till I come. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter should it be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. So Yahushua overcame, and he's going to rule and have a scepter and destroy these nations. We're going to have to endure. We're going to have to overcome. And the Lord is going to give us that same scepter and rod to rule and be joint heirs with Yahushua as a king in the kingdom. But with that, Most High willingness was edifying through the Spirit. Most High willing brothers examine themselves and sisters examine themselves and being strengthened up to serve and do all of the works of the Most High and be patient in judgment and understanding and be a patient in the authority that the Most High gave you as a king. With that, I want to give all honor and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, by Hashem HaMashiach, Malak Yahushua. Shalom.